whenever there's a card set or a type of card or a player's cards that just something seems off. It seems off because the values either seem too high or too low. And it's like, am I missing something? Am I missing something here? Now, of all the things I've talked about valuations and why isn't this worth more and why isn't that worth more, I don't know if there's anything that I've ever felt stronger that this is severely undervalued. And I do, see, for me, what I do is I go to card shows just like everyone else. I go online just like everyone else, and I look at what things are selling for. And occasionally I go, oh, that seems like a little lower than I thought, or that seems a little higher than I thought. This one seems way lower than I thought. The T206 set. You could make the argument that the most famous set out there is the T206 set. If you said, what's the most famous card? What's the most iconic card? I think most collectors would say either the 52 Mantle or the T206 Honus Wagner. Those would be the two that most of us would point to as the two most famous, the two most expensive cards. I've talked a little bit about the 52 tops in the past. I've never talked about the T206s yet. And the more I read about them and the more I investigate them and the more I look at them, the more I like them. I really, really like them. I need to start getting more of these. I'm actively trying to purchase more of these because I don't just think they're awesome looking. I don't just think they're historical artifacts. I mean, they're over 100 years old. They're antiques. They're antique baseball cards. They're over 100 years old. But these, I need to have some of these. We're going to take a look at the set and just breeze into a little bit of an introduction as to why I think the star cards, the Hall of Famers, the premier players in this set are way undervalued. Way undervalued. Check this out. Are you interested in T206s or are you turning me off right now? If you're interested in them at all, these things have a lot of upside. Check it out. So when we look on the screen right here, we've got 5 Hall of Famers, right? We've got Christy Mathewson, Rube Waddle, Willie Keeler, Cy Young, and Trish Speaker. And those cards, whether they're the baseball poses or they're the portraits, they're so cool. Now be patient with me as I get to the point that I'm trying to make. Let's start by looking at another iconic set, the 1952 Topps set. Now I just randomly pulled up sales prices on 6 commons, and I chose PSA 4. A PSA 4 1952 common, it goes for $22, $23. You know, if you're looking into the higher number series, it might get up around $50. But for the most part, a common's about $25. Now let's look at the stars. The 1952 Topps, iconic set, iconic players. Look at some of these prices. A Jackie Robinson is $5,000. Warren Spahn, $300. Bob Feller, $350. Yogi Berra, $520. Minnie Minoso is about $450. And then Willie Mays is $11,000. And this isn't even including the most iconic card of all, the Mickey Mantle. So this is recent sales in 4s. All right? So again, we've got some iconic cards here. I would say that the Jackie Robinson and the Willie Mays would fit that category. Now, if we look at the commons, and I've always thought the term common is kind of mean. Like, oh, you're just a like, that's kind of messed up. But a quote-unquote common sells for about $30, okay? So it's about $30, and that's on the high side because I included a high number. And then we look at some of the Hall of Fame star players. And I highlighted the Jackie Robinson, the Willie Mays, because to me, those are like superstars. The other ones are Hall of Famers, they're great players. But Jackie and Willie are like superstars, all right? So if we look at the average common is about $30, that means Minnie Minoso is about 15 times a common's value. Warren Spahn, 10 times a common's value. Bob Feller is about 12 times a common value. Yogi is 17 times a common value. And then Jackie's 165 times the value of a common. And Willie Mays is 363 times a common's value. So would you rather have 10 commons or a Warren Spahn? That's what we're saying here. Now let's look at another very, very popular set, the 54 tops. Now when we look at the 54 tops, again, be patient with me. I'm getting to my point, I promise. A 54 tops common goes for between $5 and $10. Some are $7.50, $6, $5. But, you know, they're $5 to $10, you know, about $7. Now let's look at the star Hall of Famers in this set. So a Jackie Robinson, and I chose 3s for 1954, just so I'm comparing apples to apples. A 3 in this case of a Jackie Robinson is $408, and Al Kaline's $450. A Yogi's about $170. One of the Ted Williamses is $315. Willie Mays is $440. And then the other Ted Williams is a little under $400. Okay. So when we look at these cards, again, these are some pretty iconic cards. I mean, the Ted Williams is the first time he shows up on a Topps card, and the Al Kaline's a big-time rookie. And, you know, any Jackie Robinson or Willie Mays card is a big-time card. But I have kind of a plethora of different key cards from this set. Not the biggest one, not the Hank Aaron, but just the kind of middle-of-the-road one. So, again, here we look at the 54s, and we have commons are worth about $750 each. Jackie Robinson is $408. Al Kaline in this grade is $450. Yogi Berra sold for $167. Again, these are the numbers from the previous page, right? So if it's $750 for a common, and then we look over to the right, the valuation compared to a common of a Jackie Robinson, it's over 50 times. So a Jackie Robinson is worth 50 commons, right? Al Kaline is almost 60 times the value of a common. The Yogi is over 20 times the value of a common. The Ted Williams is over 40 times the value of a common. The Willie Mays is just under 60 times the value of a common. So let's look at the T206s. A T206 and a 2. So we're not talking trashed ones. 2s are pretty decent cards usually. A common in the T206s, they're selling for 56, 61, 67, 67, 78, 51. I mean, you're not going to get a common in a 2 for under $50 very often. You're usually paying mid-60s, $65 or so, to get a common, to get a guy you've never heard of, to get a guy who, you know, isn't going to have many records in the record books. Now let's look at what some of the big-time players are. So we got Rube Waddle there, $474. Willie Keeler, who had the hit streak before DiMaggio. He batted over 400. I think his career average was like 350. I mean, one of the best contact hitters ever. Christy Mathewson, one of the original inaugural Hall of Fame players. You've got Cy Young, who wasn't an inaugural Hall of Fame player, but Christy Mathewson was. Tris Speaker, who along with Cy Young went in the second Hall of Fame class. I mean, that's a Tris Speaker rookie card for under $1,000. Just like $950 for his rookie. Now look at the valuations here. A common for a T206 is just over $60. Now anybody wants to have a T206. I get that somebody says, I want a T206 because it's different. It's not like a 54 tops or a 52 tops. It's different because these are like a bigger deal. Well, they are a bigger deal. But the star cars are a bigger deal too. So Willie Keeler is 7 times a common. Would you rather have a Willie Keeler or 7 commons? Trish Speaker's rookie card is equivalent to 15 commons. The valuations down below for the 54 tops, you're looking at about 50 commons per star card. 50! If we look up to the 52 tops, for the big-time superstars, it's 165 and 360 times a common. But if you look at the Christy Mathewson or a Cy Young, these are big-time top players of all time. Trish Speaker, one of the best center fielders of all time. The valuation compared to a common is way low. It's really, really low. How is a Trish Speaker rookie card not worth more than that compared to a common? So when we look at the key cards here, the Jackie Robinson, the Willie Mays, and the 52 tops, the two of the 3 iconic cards from that set, or most iconic, it's 165 to 363 times the valuation of a common. That is a lot of commons to equate the same value of these cards. But as we start to look up above at the T206s, an inaugural Hall of Famer in that Hall of Fame class with Babe Ruth and Ty Cobb and Walter Johnson and Honus Wagner, Christy Mathewson is 27 times a common. A Trish Speaker rookie card is 15 times a common. Willie Keeler. And you go, come on, Christy Mathewson. I mean, I've heard that name before. He's one of the best pitchers of all time. 2 World Series, 2 Triple Crowns, 4 NL wins leaders, 5 times ERA leader, 5 times strikeout leader. He threw a no-hitter. He has 373 wins. His ERA was 2.13. He has 2,500 strikeouts. Again, he got into the Hall of Fame when Cy Young didn't. He's one of the best players of all time. He's one of the best pitchers of all time. And you go, okay, yeah, I mean, Christy Mathewson is pretty good. He is pretty good, but the valuation of his T206 card to me is way low. Trish Speaker. Now, Christy Mathewson has 3 T206s. Trish Speaker has 1. And it's his rookie card. The guy batted .350. He has 3,500 hits. He won an MVP, a batting crown, a home run leader, an RBI leader. I mean, he's a big-time player. Most people have him in their top 20 to 25 players of all time. And his rookie card is the equivalent of 15 commons. A Trish Speaker rookie card in a 2 is under $1,000 when a common is going for $65 or $70. Cy Young, I mean, the guy has over 500 wins. 5 times was the win leader, 2 ERA titles, 2 strikeout leaders. He pitched a perfect game, 3 no-hitters. The freaking Best Pitcher of the Year award is named after the guy. But the valuation of his T206 compared to a common is just too low. These cards, they're undervalued. I understand that it's hard to afford one. I understand that we just want to have a T206, so we'll take a common. So yeah, $60, I'll buy a common. But for not that much more, you can buy a wee Willie Keeler, who's a Hall of Famer and has records that still stand today, like Trish Speaker's career doubles record. The T206s are undervalued.